Look within. Look within. Look within. And live your life. And live your life on the edge of two worlds. A reality where you find true understanding of who you are. Take the step into the unknown with Alexander McCaig and Jason Rigby as they explore the thinly veiled world of consciousness, spirit, and the human condition. Join them in embodying the oneness of all. Walk the cliff's edge between the seen and the unseen realities. Welcome to High Density Living.
Back to the chessboard. Jason, I'll play black today, you play white. What's round 2 look like for this episode?
And what does it mean to live?
What does it mean to live?
So we stopped off, we dropped off, and people you have to listen to 1 before you get into 2, about what is real.
Yep.
And realness. And I don't want to get too heavy in that, and we've talked about this before in our dream episodes, like what's to say that dreaming is not less real than what we view as the real world. Or if you're drunk,
yeah,
that wasn't really real because you were drunk.
You were real. It was real.
You see what I'm saying? Like we have this view, when we this John Vertaki, however you pronounce his name, that's the professor in Canada that talked a lot about this in his book on the meaning of life. He talks about like understanding when you put on a pair of glasses. I have a pair of glasses right here. He says, I'm looking through the glasses, but I'm always just looking through the glasses, but I never take off the glasses and look at the glasses. There's a difference between my worldview, and Eckhart Tolle talks about this a lot too, observing yourself.
Well, yeah, it's almost like I've pulled the perspective off my face.
Yeah.
And now I want to observe the perspective. Was this the correct one to have? Let me see how this lens has had me looking at the world.
Mm-hmm.
Are they rose-colored? Are they highly magnified? Are they fish-eyed? What is it?
But the chessboard is your dreams. The chessboard is this metaphysical experience that you had.
About Facebook.
Meta. But I mean, every time, yeah, that was so cheesy. Did you see that there was a barbecue sauce in the video?
No.
He had that Sugar Ray
Sweet Baby Ray's?
Yeah, Sweet Baby Ray's. It's in on a bookshelf. Turn this way. But people caught on, of course, people caught onto it. So they're talking, there's memes on it now.
Yeah.
But whenever you look at realness on the chessboard, reality, you have to understand all of these things are experiences that you're experiencing.
Correct.
And one thing is not less true than the other.
Drunk or not.
Yes.
Asleep or not.
Yes.
They all carry the same weight of experience.
Full of plant medicine or not.
Yeah.
Seeing aliens or elves or not.
It's all, whether you've made it up or it's legit, it's still an experience that occurs. When you go into a doctor and someone tells a doctor, I'm feeling this, the doctor can't say you're lying. That's not true. Whatever way, shape, or form, if there's a physical thing that can be seen with what this person is feeling, they're still experiencing it. If someone goes in to a psychiatrist to talk about some sort of trauma they have, the trauma is not currently occurring, but it's an experience that is very real for that person.
Yes.
You can't deny that. Regardless of it have a physical body or not, it's being experienced.
An abduction, an alien abduction.
Correct.
Whether it happened or not.
Barney and Betty Hill in New Hampshire.
Right.
People are like, it happened, it didn't happen. Regardless, these two had an experience.
People passed lie detector tests on it. So, I mean, I think they did too. So, I mean, it's like
Barney and Betty Hill, they were picked up and they shoved a giant needle into their stomachs.
What was the guy that was a logger and he came back like 3 or 5 days later?
Talking about Fire in the Sky or whatever it is?
Yeah, and we got one of his t-shirts.
And he only recently went on
Joe Rogan, yeah.
Joe Rogan to talk about it.
But he said something that was really interesting. He said, I always thought because they were probing me and all that stuff.
This is great. I was just about to make this comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's like, I always thought it was like
negative.
Something against me, negative. Mm-hmm. But what actually is I walked near there and got caught up in their
field.
Yeah, and so it would have killed me in like 2 days.
Is this not the same thing Elon said?
Yes.
He said, you're there too long. What did he call it? He said I know,
it's something to do with
it creates antibodies.
The accumulator.
Oh, yeah. So that field creates antibodies if you go within it.
Right.
And you can't help, if you receive too many of those, it'll just kill you.
Yeah, so they healed him. But people viewed it as being like probing or whatever,
No, it's not. They have you on a table because they're trying to keep you alive.
Yeah.
Think about it, Jason. If they wanted you dead, they'd just kill you. Would they not?
Yes.
What's
100%.
what's the point? If you're so evolved as an extraterrestrial being and you're so negative, why keep the person alive? Just kill it.
Yeah.
It
would be easy.
It's a lab rat. Oh, well, whatever. Get another one.
You know how easy it would have been, because UFO sightings were crazy when we decided to fuck around with nuclear weapons, right?
Correct.
So the UFOs were everywhere all the time, flying over Washington D.C., like 10 of them right above the Capitol.
Right.
They're like, hey guys,
silos,
they're like, and they're cutting shit off and on and playing with stuff. But if they wanted, that would have been a perfect time to been like, a third of humanity needs to go away.
Yeah, and they'd be like, just let them wipe each other out.
Yeah.
They're not doing that. Something must tell you that there's a benevolence
Yes.
to these individuals. Because you don't understand it, you fear it.
Well, even when you talk about like the Law of One talks about Orion Group and all that they're just because you have self-interest doesn't make you a murderer.
No.
Just because you have greed or you have,
doesn't make you a horrible person.
No, you can have a really good, if we want to look at what good is, what we view good as, you can have really good self-interest people.
Of course you can.
Yeah. So, they're just, a lot of self-help books are that way.
Right. Well,
it's all about the individual and I need to be good for myself. That's an Orion theory.
Ford.
Yeah.
His self-interest was an assembly line. He wanted to make money.
Well, we saw the
now look at us.
Facebook dude.
Yeah.
He's probably Orion.
No, I know that, but think about it now. But think about what people get to do. There's a balance of good that actually comes with that.
Yes, there is.
It's okay.
You need that. Yes.
It happens. But everyone's taking their own path of learning.
So our culture, I want to get into this. Our culture is not set up for a worldview. So in that, when we look at this game board, so we've just described that reality is everything that we experience.
Yep.
Regardless if we think it's bizarre or not. But there's a culture infused upon the game board.
Yeah.
And we're viewing the game board totally different than somebody that may be indigenous to an Aborigine that's in, that lives in a very rural area in Australia. They're going to have a different game board and it's the same game board. It's oneness. So, it's all the same game board, but their view of that game board through their cultural lens.
Correct.
Is totally different. And that's what I was saying here in a Western society, whether in Europe or whether you're here or Canada, it's that view, that cultural, I want to say like, maybe this is a good word. We impregnate it upon our thoughts, upon our reality. What people don't realize the culture and the way that because we've been programmed through our culture to respond to these thoughts, not in a creational law way, but in a cultural way. So we're allowing the culture to dictate.
Which could be a very false perspective.
That's what Jesus went against all the time.
Culture could be very anti-creational.
Countercultural, yeah.
Yeah, but what's it doing? It's forming our worldview. Well, it'd be great if cultures were based off of creational laws, but they're not. I'm trying to think of any that may exist. I don't know of any.
Well, let's look at what's going on right now, especially with you use Nigeria. So you use them for example. So Nigeria turns around and says, we hate Bitcoin. We don't have anything to do with Bitcoin because we can't control it. So the head bank of Nigeria said, we're making our own coin and we're going to centralize the coin. And then we're going to have, so whether you take a US dollar and you digitize it. So we went from fiat currency to a digital currency,
right?
And it's backed by the US government, Federal Reserve, all that. Or whether you're in Nigeria, it doesn't matter what country you're in. This is the same scenario that's happening. It's just a different form of energy, because money's just energy. We've talked about that. It's just a different form of energy that's changed and morphed into a way that we can use it. But the cultural
controls are still the same.
It's still the same. It's not decentralized.
It's not decentralized at all. It's a centralized currency. Ethereum, all that.
That's a centralized currency.
All that shit.
Yeah.
It's still centralized. No matter how much they want to say it's so it's not.
Bitcoin's the only one, isn't it?
Bitcoin is not decentralized.
Oh, we had that lady that was on, and that's what she said. She said ultimately it's centralized.
Ultimately, it's completely centralized. There's very few things out there that are truly so democratic, so decentralized, like Turtle Coin.
Yes.
Silence.
I was thinking about that because I have an episode just for this, so this will be interesting.
But there are certain things, if you it's funny to watch them flow.
Sign up at turtle.co.
Sign up at turtle.co.
It's our sponsor.
How quickly did people adopt a Turtle coin?
Oh, real quickly. Yeah.
Like that.
Every day we get the numbers.
The adoption didn't happen because I came in, I had a bunch of money to start.
Right.
No, it was just through work. All it is a it's a reflection of energy, nothing more. And it's completely decentralized. We don't have the control over it.
But so this is a great example. I think Turtle Coin's a great example. So whether you're in Russia or whether you're in Canada, it doesn't matter. You have the same potential of your work over anyone else. And so it's the same scenario whenever we look at, if you remove culture off the game board.
Correct.
And you remove what you view as reality and not reality, you remove that, what do you have?
You're just left with the energy chips and a board. Where do you want to put it? How much of it do you want to acquire? It's all there for it's your choice you're taking. Remove the barriers that you've put up culturally, the barriers you put in your mind, and start to play the game with your free will. Because now you don't have both hands tied behind your back. Maybe you only have one. But now at least you have a hand to move some of these pieces. And then when both hands are free, you're unstoppable.
So I want to shift over because probably the next 15 minutes, I'm going to get into the practical side of this.
I love
what does it mean to live? So this John Verdict talks about psychotechnologies, which I love that word, but he's talking about like these metaphysical, like we have potential. We have so much technology now. We can get on a plane really quick, go to the jungle really fast, have a spiritual experience, if you want to call that. But you can have a spiritual experience at your house. We can have a spiritual experience right now.
I'm having one right now.
We can do holotropic breathing and see aliens, or we can meditate right now and have a spiritual experience. I mean, your chakras light up whenever we're in resonation.
When you just said that, my whole back lit up again.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
Do not comment about my chakras on air.
But I'm just saying, these spiritual experiences are happening regardless of if we know or understand them or not. Creational law
happens regardless.
Is happening regardless. Why do we resonate with a tree so much? Why do we view trees as like humans?
Precisely correct. Why do we put so much personality into dogs?
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
You still resonate with it.
Yeah.
The only reason you're allowed to talk is creational law. Right. The only reason you have the ability for thought is creational law. The only reason you can walk around and breathe, creational law. See light, creational law. Your choice, free will, thinking, interaction, action, love, all those things are because of creational law.
And that becomes freeing because now I remove all the dogma off the chessboard.
Yeah.
I remove the culture, I remove what I view as reality or not. I don't look at any of those things because I'm not my God, if you want to say it that way.
Yep.
Capital G. So now I look at this and I say, okay, I have the ability to create systems. And he talks about this. I have the ability to create systems that are self-correcting.
Sure you do.
Because I can create, because I am creation.
Can we talk about a practical self-correcting system?
Yes.
Here's one. When's the last? Have you been upset recently?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Okay. Why?
Like every other day.
Why?
Why was I upset?
I don't need you. You don't have to answer it. That's the self-correcting system.
Yes. Oh, that's self-awareness. Yeah.
Oh, self-awareness.
Yeah,
is your self-correcting system. Why? One of the easiest tools, free to use, no cost to you,
right,
is ask yourself, why? Why did I think that?
Well, I always say this, and this has helped me out, and I learned from someone else, but it's like, I always say, why are you upset, Jason? I do that.
Mm-hmm.
Then I say, I'm not my emotional response.
That's precisely correct.
I'm pure consciousness. I am not this emotional response that I'm experiencing right now.
Yeah.
So me attaching myself to that is not the real me.
No.
That emotional response that I'm having right now, whether I'm crying or laughing,
it's not who you are.
It's not who I am.
No, it's this idea that's essentially, it's not the real narrative of you. It's not the real creational narrative. It's this divergence from your natural, most straight and linear evolutionary path. It's a divergence from it. So why brings you back on your path? That's that self-correcting nature of this system.
Because there is, and I want to talk about this real quickly, there is a dark side of spiritual practices.
Yeah.
And we've talked about, and you talked about fake channelers and all that stuff. And,
yes.
And like Guy is a perfect example.
A
lot
lot
of our listeners have that prescription, subscription. And
prescription. That's funny.
Prescription. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. But when you look at people, and we have a book right here of a guy that I think Raw mentioned him and
Billy Meyer.
Yeah, and Billy Meyer Materials mentioned him. So this guy was full of light and love, and he just wanted to help people. and serve. And so, whenever we look at somebody like this, whoever it could be, Jesus, whatever, you see an example like this and you turn around and say, how was he in the 1800s, early 1900s, whatever? How was he able to understand and know love and light? How was he able to get his game board aligned? What self-correcting systems did he, because he had to invent these in a time where people were still like, some people believed in slavery then.
He was on a boat in Africa, going down a river, going to some sort of, it was a hospital or something that he was running at the time. And I think he saw some animals that were running around. And then he realized that there is a bridge or a connection between the life of that animal and himself. And then also at the same time that regardless of the westernized society that he came from, there are individuals here living their own game boards,
yes.
right? But it doesn't mean he realized their game board wasn't any less. So he said, I recognize imperialism that happened from my culture. I recognize the value of life. Now I have to revere it. Now I understand that if I want to value my own life, I don't want to create harm, then I have to respect that life. I have to have a reverence for life. And that's how Albert Schweitzer actually came to that conclusion. What he saw was that if I don't want to create self-harm, I can't create harm on others, because me creating harm on others is also a self-harm onto myself. He realized the reflexivity of everything he was doing. He's saying all those interactions, those cause and effect, come back and they will haunt him, whether it's in his consciousness or physically. So he said, I need to heal and revere all life rather than actually trying to take a darker side and control it and hurt it, because it's actually going to hurt me. So he opened up hospitals in Africa. He funded a ton of money into it. He was very philanthropic, schools, all those things of that nature, because he felt that it was more important to heal and give people the opportunity to learn, animals or humans, rather than to take those opportunities away for some sort of, economic gain or for some sort of, ego power that he thought he might have needed, didn't need to be there.
And that's a beautiful example of these self-correcting systems, that we have the power inside of ourselves.
Yeah.
Once we begin to realize it, to be able to do that. And I have a statement that I came up with, and it's conforming to creation, not just absorbing it. Because there's only one thing you can do with a law.
You can integrate with the law. It's just
it's there. The law is immutable.
I can't run away from nature. I am nature.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But we think that we can separate from it. You're naturally absorbing these things. We absorb energies, all this that allows us to live. You can't separate yourself from that. You'd kill yourself. Mm-hmm. So you need to, what's the C word you used? Conform?
Yeah, conform.
So you must conform, right, to this thing itself. You must work yourself with those laws, because those are the most beneficial ones to you, your psyche, and your spirit. You have to do those things. And in doing so, you will only receive benefits. You will only learn faster. It's designed, this whole thing, everything we're in right now, this chessboard is designed to make you learn. That move didn't work. Shit, let me try a different one. And then one day, you go from losing, and then you get into stalemates, and then you get into checkmates.
Yes.
That's what you do.
Yes.
You find yourself moving through this and realizing this is really what does work. And there's an infinite amount of variations on a chessboard. That's what makes chess so great.
Befriend yourself.
You have to. You have to love yourself. You don't need to create harm to yourself. You have to have reverence for your own life. And Schweitzer should listen.
We have time. Because I wanted to get into three things that's very practical. Three tools real quick.
All right,
and I want you to talk on each of these three, because we have 10 minutes. So number one is mindfulness.
Mindfulness. Just having that awareness of the moment. Do not walk about sleeping. Do not be a sleepwalker in this world. Mindfulness is paying attention to those things that are occurring inside of you and outside of you, and understanding how you integrate with them. That's the mindfulness. It's being aware in that moment.
Number two is contemplation.
Well, yeah. I can be aware. Oh, that's interesting that happened. Take the time to think about it. You can rush through your day and you'll ignore these things, but they'll pile up and then it's going to hit you later. And you're going to wonder, why did that just happen? Well, you weren't really paying attention, but if you were paying attention, you just let it go and didn't give it the thought it deserves. You need to afford time to thinking about an event or why you felt a certain way. First of all, I got to be aware of my emotions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then after I've asked myself why, after I've passed the mindfulness, now I have to actually think about what led to that. Now I'm learning. How did I get from point A to point B? You know, you can drive in a car and be like, oh my God, I don't even know how I got here. You were driving, but it was a very subconscious thing, right? Yes. You're essentially floating in this moment and not really thinking about anything else going on. And then you end up at the destination. But then you have to go back and review. How did I get from here to there?
And then the last tool is oneness.
Oneness. Because there is only one law, and that is the law of one, which would make sense. If there's a law of one, you could only have one law. Oneness is really understanding that you are part and parcel of creation. What does that mean? Everything about you, every law that you are bound by, everything else is bound by. Every thought, all of it. It is that natural unity that occurs. So the combination of mindfulness, the combination of going back and contemplating, and then thinking about that oneness and how it comes into that moment and how I got from point A to point B, that's a very good tool set to bring you on an evolutive path to getting that checkmate.
Yeah, and I want to close it out on this because I think it's we should understand, and then you can close out, and then we'll talk about our sponsors. But so don't shut us off yet because this is really important. We have a distracted cognition.
Wow.
You know, I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, whether I'm watching TV, I'm watching Gaia on my TV, and I have my phone in my hand, and I'm on Instagram, and then I get a text, and then I get an email, and then I get a Slack. You know, I mean, or I'm doing a group text and working on a PowerPoint at the same time.
Your attention's pulled everywhere.
It's because this is very, very practical. So we have this distracted cognition, and when in reality, creation is a shared cognition.
Wow. The way I am interpreting shared cognition is that everybody is afforded the same thing to look at.
Yes, that's where I was getting at. Yeah, 100%.
But we distract ourselves from this unifying thing that's there. We pull ourselves away from it. We self-distract. But creation is like, here it is. Here's the full picture. Do you want to pay attention to it collectively? And it's sharing that for you. We all have the ability to recognize that one thing.
And it's as simple as walking outside right now. Like after you shut this off, after you get done listening to this episode, walk outside, no headphones, no nothing. Take your dog, whatever.
Preferably bare feet.
Preferably bare feet, and look at a tree, look at a mountain, look at a river stream.
It's right there for you.
Look at your grass.
Yeah.
You will get, if you will take the time and you're mindful, you're in creation, you're mindful, and you contemplate on creation,
you'll feel the
and
oneness.
you will. You'll feel the oneness. 100%.
It's right there. Just take the time to recognize it. Do not distract yourself from the most valuable things that are around you. Use the toolbox.
And so, speaking of toolbox, there is a great tool that you can use right now, wherever you're at in the world. That's Tartle.co.
Right.
You can sign up, start earning money for data, or you can donate, which is really cool. You can donate to causes, whether it's climate stability, whether it's educational access.
Yep.
We talked about that in Africa with whatever it may be. And we are working daily to get NGOs and not-for-profits onto the system.
Yep.
And if somebody, some people that we have listening, if you are an NGO or you know somebody that has a not-for-profit, how easy is it for them to sign up at Tartle?
So simple. You can go to Tartle.co and you can sign up in very short order, and then you can get yourself listed on the marketplace so people can donate earnings, their data earnings, to you.
And how much does that cost the not-for-profit?
Zero. They get 100% of the earning value. Tartle takes nothing. And it shouldn't. It should never. It wouldn't make any sense. It'd be hypocritical.
Yeah, it would be hypocritical. It would be going against the free will of the not-for-profit. So
at the end of the day,
yeah, exactly.
Go get your Cobalt tool chest.
And we want to thank QualityMazda, nm.com. So if you're in New Mexico, Colorado, parts of West Texas, then look at getting. I drive a CX-5. Make sure that if you want to have a great experience, you can go to qualitymazdanm.com and get yourself. If you're looking for a vehicle, get yourself a new Mazda.
And if you want to be educated and not coerced, no better place to go do it.
Yes, and go to higherdensityliving.com.
Appreciate it.
Look within, and live your life on the edge of two worlds. A reality where you find true understanding of who you are. The learning is done. Become the teacher in embodying the oneness of all. Walk the cliff's edge between the seen and the unseen realities. Become a higher density being. Please go to www.higherdensityliving.com.